Welcome to the Overflow Worship Podcast, where we want you to thrive in the ministry God has called you to. We truly believe that God's placement has purpose, and we're here for you with encouragement and tools for the journey.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Overflow Worship Podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Olson. Thank you so much for joining today for another episode. I just wanted to share a few things with you, announce a few exciting things. And, we just came off of the Overflow Worship Conference a couple of weeks ago. And so I just wanted to take a short time here in this little mini episode and share with you about what God did that weekend, because it was so powerful and so special. And, things were different, of course, right? Everything is different in 2020, but it was so special. And I think because everybody felt almost like we had to fight to get there. It was a battle to get there, and it was worth it. And so everybody came in with this mindset of, I am here to worship and I'm here to be refilled, and I want to be here because I fought to get here. And, I think there's a really beautiful bit of symbolism in that. When we have to work for something and something is hard, it seems like the result is even sweeter because it cost us something. And, one of our partners who opened up the worship night of the weekend of the conference, she came to us from Praise Live, and she was talking about, just the ministry that they're doing, but she was talking about, that week leading up to the worship conference had been difficult and trying. And she said this phrase, she said, tonight, let's have our worship cost us something. And I've been thinking about that because I think that's so true. Our offering, whether it's a song that we write or money that we give or our praise, it is an offering and it does cost us something. And I think that's powerful because it just shows the Lord even more in an even greater way with greater depth. Like, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do this even though it's hard, because I know that you're worthy and I know that you're still good, even when I don't see it. And, I was just talking with my kids this morning. We homeschool, and I was talking with them about worship, and I just said, why do we worship God? And we were talking about how it is an investment, or it deepens our relationship with God. And sometimes we don't feel like it. Sometimes we don't want to. Sometimes we're tired, or sometimes we just think, oh, I don't feel his presence, or I don't hear him speaking. But it's important in those times even more to lean in and to worship anyway, because that's a sacrifice. Coming to the Lord saying, I know that you're good. I know that you are working under the surface, even though I don't see it. And that has been a picture of what this year has been like, right? 2020 has been hard, and it's been difficult to continue that walk of faith, knowing that God is working, knowing that he's moving, and yet we don't see it. We don't see the fruit of it. We're not living in the fruit of these moments, but someday we will be. And so the investments that we make in our relationship with the Lord and in our calling and what he's called us to and set before us are so key and so important. And so anyway, just back to the conference, I think that's why it was so sweet, because everybody was ready, and we went in after the presence of God together. And, a lot of worship pastors and worship team members and pastors were there who were tired. We're tired, right? And it's been a hard season, and I could just see the light coming back into their eyes, and I could see the refilling happening as they were able to come and just be poured into and not have to do anything. And so I just encourage you as listeners, if you weren't there, maybe you are feeling tired, maybe you're depleted and worn out. And I just encourage you to find something to replenish and refresh your soul. Maybe it's just, a night where you can say, hey, can I have, to your spouse, hey, can I have an hour or 30 minutes or 2 hours or whatever works for you, and just have some time to be by myself. I need to do some soul care. And it's amazing, what that does and how important that is for us, especially in a time where people in ministry have been pouring out so much and giving so much and working so hard. And so I just encourage you to find a time, find a space where you can go for refreshing and refilling. And if that isn't a physical, leaving and going to a conference or a retreat because of the current season that we're in, I encourage you to fight for that time by yourself and to pursue it, because it's so necessary for us, especially in this season. And you will see the fruit. You will see the fruit of those investments in the future. And it's worth it. It's so, so worth it. And so I wanted to share with you, the weekend with Christy Knuckles and Paul Balash and Christy's husband, Nathan. They brought such a sweet spirit with them, and they loved on our people and taught them and poured into them. And it was a really powerful time. And I think all of us, even though it was much different than we thought it would be a year ago, I think all of us walked away with a renewed perspective and a renewed sense of identity in the Lord and what He's called us to. And so I just encourage you that those times, those intentional times to get away, kind of get out of your surroundings. You've heard me say it before, change of pace plus a change of place equals change of perspective. But we have to initiate that. We're not going to get those results, just spinning around in circles in the same spot. So for all of you who were there, thank you. I'm so glad you were there. It was so fun to meet some podcast listeners and to meet people who, are doing ministry, and just to learn their stories and learn a little bit about what God is doing in the church. I love it. God is working and moving, and we are going to come out stronger on the other side if we continue to invest and continue to pursue the heart of God and pursue His presence, because that is where peace comes. That is where our identity comes from. That is where we find rest for our souls. And so it was a really sweet weekend, and I encourage you to pursue those times for yourself. And, we're doing a conference again next year. So maybe you just want to put it on your calendar, October 8th and 9th, 2021, because it's a really sweet time. So I have some exciting news to share with you, and it's been years in the making. I have been working with churches and working with worship leaders, working with young students for so many years. And I've watched God organically craft the story that I never could have fabricated by myself. I never imagined I would be doing what I'm doing now, 10 years ago, but it's better. God has shifted and re-guided and retooled so many things in my heart. And I just am so grateful. I'm so grateful that He took the time and the care to do that. And so as I've been working with churches and leaders of all ages for the past several years, I have found a unique perspective, because I've been able to hear what the needs are. It's one thing for me to say, here, this is what I think you need, and it might not be relevant. That's why we craft our content for the conference so carefully, because I want it to be relevant and helpful for you guys. I don't want it to be something that's like, well, that was nice, but I can't use that. And so we ask questions like, what do you guys need? And when I'm, so to speak, boots on the ground, or in 2020, Zoom space, I don't even know what to call it, Zooming everything. I think a lot of us are grateful for Zoom, and we're also sick of it, right? But I'm so grateful for technology. Anyways, I've been able to hear stories and see firsthand, wow, these are the challenges that you guys are facing, and these are the resources that you guys need. And so over the last year, God put it in my heart that it was time to take this to the next step. And it's amazing how 2020 has really been fuel for this fire because I've been able to have time to invest in it. But at the conference 2 weeks ago, we launched overflowresource.com. And this is a brand new training website for worship leaders and their teams. And I'm so excited about it because we have tons of just resources that are on the horizon that will be added into that. And what we kicked it off with, though, are training resources surrounding my new song that was released in early October called Monument. And so we have training videos that are specific to your role. So vocals, instrumentation, band roles, that kind of thing. And we did a live music video. And my heart behind that was twofold. Number one, it was to give you a moment to rest and stop. Remember that what I was talking about before, pursuing that time alone? Well, if you can't get away, you can hop into Overflow Resource and just hit play on that music video. And I would love it if that brought you to a place of just entering into God's presence and being ministered to in that time. And so that's the first purpose and the most important purpose of the worship videos is that it's a live worship experience for you as the leader who probably never gets to do that. You're always on the platform. The second purpose of them is then after you do the training videos, you can go back to it and kind of implement those things that you learned in the video, sing along, try the harmony part or play along, that kind of thing. And so it gives you opportunity to apply it. And then we also have, chord charts, and we have directions for, lyrics, and we have a partnership now with Multitracks. And so you will get discounted access to the stems and all of the resources around the song Monument through Multitracks. And I'm so excited about this because this is just the beginning. And so what we're doing is the subscription is for a year and it's only $20 for the whole year because we're starting, with a chunk of content, but over the next year, it's going to grow. It's going to grow. And so we want you guys to be in on the ground floor so you can tell us what you need and tell us what you want. And so I would love it if you would join this community. It is going to be such a special thing to share with you and grow together. And I'm really excited to hear from you about how it's working for you and what else you guys need and want, because that's really my heart behind it, is to provide the training tools and resources for you that are helpful. And then the great thing is, then I can go, when I go into churches and do workshops, it is like a base, a foundation. I might say, hey, you guys should sign in to the resource and check out these videos, and that will give you some preparation for our workshop. And so it's kind of a bridge in that way. And my hope is that it would just be helpful. Worship leaders, maybe you don't have time to, train your team members like you would like to, or they're young team members and you just don't know where to start. And so my hope is that this would give you a tool in your tool belt. So that is my first announcement, which I'm sure if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you can tell I'm so excited about it. And the second thing I wanted to share with you is along those lines. As I've been working with churches, I have come to love training young worship leaders and young team members. And I have unofficially been taking on interns for the past about 9 years, and usually taking on only one per year. But over the last year and a half, as an organization of Overflow Worship, we've had 3 interns with us and kind of go through this internship program that I've created. And so as of October 2020, so as of right now, we are officially launching the Overflow Worship Professional Development Program. And I'm so excited about this, you guys, because I just believe so strongly that it's so important for us to equip and train the next generation and then send. Equip, train, and send. And that is the heart of Overflow Worship. And my heart is just to pour in what I've learned to other people and give them the opportunity then to go and, let's spread out and let's have the domino effect, and affect even more people because we are better and greater together. And so I'm really excited about this. Basically, the overview is there are 2 tracks for this program. The first is the Professional Development Program, which starts officially in January and ends at the conference next October 2021. And it is working alongside my Overflow Worship staff and helping to plan the event, plan the conference, and, work through all the different aspects of Overflow Worship and, from podcasts to bookings to Overflow Resource and kind of all the different arms that we have. They will get a snapshot of behind the curtain and get experience in a ministry and in a functioning business. And so the things that they will get the opportunity to do will hopefully, set them up with experience for the future that could help them in future jobs. And so it's, there's lots of information we can send if you're interested, but we just love pouring into young people. It's great for college students if they need an internship credit. And the great thing about it is it's virtual. So if you are local to, where I am in the Wilmer area, we can meet in person sometimes, but for the most part, it's virtual because we operate virtually. I have staff all over the country. And so that is something that is actually really great because if a student is in school, in college, you can still take part in this. So that's one track. The other track is the Worship Leadership Development Program. And that is working more closely with me and honing, musical skills and more importantly, leadership skills and studying leadership and what it looks like to be a worship leader and the heart behind it. And then also taking that and bridging over to the skills side and, working vocally or on your instrument and kind of helping you with the goals that you have and where you're at. So I love doing that. And I love bringing in other people throughout the course of the term to, encourage and pour into the student as well. And so that also begins in January and ends at the conference in October. And the idea is that we bookend with the conference because then our interns will serve in some capacity at the event. And so it is required as a part of the program to be at the event in 2021 in person, even if you are virtual, on the other side of the country for the duration of the program. So that is launched officially and we're taking applications. So you can go to overflowworship.com/pro, like PRO, professional development. Just in case you didn't catch that. No, that's not it. Overflowworship.com. Overflowworship.com/pro. And it gives you an overview. It gives you a cost overview. You can download a kind of detailed sheet that goes more in depth of what I've said here. But I would love to talk with you about it. So reach out, fill out a questionnaire, take a look at the application, reach out to us with questions, info@overflowworship.com, and let's see if it's a fit because we would love to have you join the program. Space is really limited. We can only take on a few. And so if that's something that interests you, just get the process started, reach out to us. We can schedule a Zoom call and answer questions, that kind of thing. So those are my big announcements that I wanted to share with you. And the reason is just because I'm excited and I wanted to devote this podcast to it because I think that this time is so key for growth for all of us. And God has put it on my heart to do this as my part of investing in growth, but also I've been taking it as a time to invest in my own growth, and like practicing piano and voice more consistently every single day and investing in how I just my craft and leadership and all of that. And so I'm passionate about passing that on to other people as well. So if you have questions, let us know, but check out overflowresource.com and the professional development program at overflowworship.com/pro. Thank you all so much for listening to this little mini episode. We will be back next month with 2 great episodes, 2 great interviews I'm so excited to share with you, so don't miss it. All right, guys, thank you so much, and until next time, we'll see you later.
Thank you for listening to the Overflow Worship Podcast. To stay up to date, please subscribe for the latest episodes and information. To learn more about the ministry of Overflow, visit overflowworship.com. If you have questions or prayer requests, we would love to hear from you. You can reach us at info@overflowworship.com.